Last Sunday, our Liturgy of the Word offered us vocation stories, a good way to begin this new year of faith as we reflect together on the readings at Mass. Today, we have another pair of vocation stories about a prophet and a quartet of disciples. Jonah had to be dragged into being a prophet. In fact, he ran the opposite way first and was swallowed by a big fish who spit him up where he was supposed to be. That's where the story picks up only briefly in our first reading today. In this short excerpt from the tale of Jonah, the reluctant prophet preaches just a day's worth of God's warning to the Assyrian capital of Nineveh, and all the people repent. Not bad for a day's work. Without the background, one would think Jonah's vocation as prophet was a pretty comfortable life choice. But remember, he didn't want the job, and if you read further than today's snippet, you'll find that he wasn't all that happy with the outcome of his work. Maybe he'd have enjoyed seeing the Ninevites wiped out. But prophets have to do God's work, not their own, and they're not always successful. In our second vocation story today, we watch Jesus' first disciples drop everything literally and follow him. Peter and Andrew, James and John leave the fishing business behind at Jesus' call. We know that Jonah's fear and ego made him a reluctant prophet. But what made the first followers of Jesus so willing? I'd like to believe that Jesus' preaching and personality was compelling enough to attract them. And it was enough for a start, at least. We also know, as we'll see in listening to Mark's Gospel all this year, that the story of the disciples isn't always a flattering portrait. At times they are fearful, self-seeking, betraying or abandoning their teacher, and yet Jesus sticks with them. At the Gospel's end, they're commanded to meet him, risen from the dead in Galilee, where their mission, their vocation, will continue. The vocation stories we hear today at Mass are stories in which we are challenged to find ourselves. What attracts us to the Lord? How faithfully do we follow him? And most importantly, will we allow him to accept us if we fail?